Sorry for the background noise. I'm at this hospital. I couldn't find any quiet place outside of being out here in this garden at nighttime. So, anyways, we just watched the Hurricanes lose to Iowa State, which is nuts because they just were not very good. Um, I've got really three things to talk about. The first thing I want to talk about is Emory Williams. The second thing I want to talk about is defensive coordinator. And the third thing I want to talk about are the players that's leaving, mainly Cam Ward. So, first, let's talk about Emory Williams. The one question that I have for y'all is, are you happy now? Have we seen enough? Are we good now? Because I've been saying for too long that we have to get a transfer quarterback. We've got to get a transfer quarterback. And I've been seeing people in the comment sections, whether it's on my videos or other people's videos, saying, no, it's time to give Emory Williams his shot. It's time to give him his shot. And I've been saying, he's not the guy. If he is the guy, it's not his time just yet. He's not ready. And I've been saying this until I'm blue in the face. I'm telling y'all, Emory Williams is not ready. Whenever you're a quarterback, at least a high proficiency quarterback or high efficiency, you got to extend plays. You got to be accurate. You got to show leadership. Emory Williams shows a sort of leadership that people can appreciate with him throwing his hands in the air after every play, doing all this, like setting people up, what I call histrionics. Like he's really good at that. But the rest of it, he does not have, at least not yet. He has no creativity. He does not extend plays. His accuracy is poor. His decision making is poor. Like we're at the end of the game. We've got to throw the ball at least 15, 20 yards down the field. He keeps throwing shallow route plays for 5 or 6 yards across the middle, getting tackled, which does nothing but cause the clock to keep running, wasting time. He's overthrowing receivers left and right. He did that this season. He did that last season. People keep caping up for this guy, and they keep trying to make him more than what he is. But let's just be honest with ourselves, man. He is not the answer. He's just not. Um, he does not extend plays. That drives me crazy. He'll stand back there, and as soon as he feels contact, he steps into the contact and then throws the ball into the dirt. He, my main concern before this game, my main concern, and what I've been telling people since the regular season ended, actually before the regular season ended, my main concern is he locks on to receivers all of the time. All the time he locks on to receivers. So this is what I want you to do. This is your homework. Look up Cam. I know we shouldn't compare him to Cam Ward because Cam Ward is what we call a generational talent. I get that. But just look up Cam Ward's highlights from this season. Go look that up. And then go and look up Emory Williams' highlights from last season or from earlier this season when he got some garbage time. Go look that up and then tell me the main difference you see. If you know anything about football, the main thing that you'll see is if you watch the stripe on that helmet, the quarterback's helmet, you should see the stripe of that helmet going back and forth, looking at different receivers. When you see Cam Ward play, he gets the snap. He might know that he's going to throw the ball over here to the right side of the field. He might know that from the jump. But when he gets the ball, the first thing he's doing is looking down the middle and then to the left, and then he'll look back to the right and throw it that direction. He's getting that stripe on his helmet moving, which makes the safeties think a little bit. It makes them have to read more than just your helmet, right? So that's what Cam Ward is doing. Now, if you go look at Emory Williams, you never see the stripe on his helmet move from side to side. It never moves. He gets the snap, and whoever he's going to throw it to, he just locks in on him and just waits and waits and waits and waits and waits, and then he forces it. He hardly ever looks at two or three receivers on one play. I did see him do that a couple times tonight, which was impressive. I was glad to see that. But from what I've seen since the time he put on a Hurricanes helmet from the first time up until now, it's not enough. It's not enough progress. Not nearly enough progress. When I saw, and y'all gonna think I'm crazy for this, when I saw Reese Poffenbarger jump into the transfer portal, I was super shook because I was like, the wrong quarterback jumped into the transfer portal. We should have let Emory walk and kept Reese Poffenbarger. Reese has experience. He knows how to use his legs. He's also thrown for thousands of yards already. He's not just out there being a game manager. Like when he was playing for Albany, like he was at least demanded to throw the ball 30 times a game. So he's got experience doing that. I don't know, man. Next season might look kind of sketchy. It might look kind of weird if we don't get a transfer quarterback in. Because I'm telling y'all right now, if Emory Williams is the starting quarterback next season, we will win 5 or 6 games the whole year. I'm telling you. Emory Williams got into the game. We had a lead. He got gifted 7 points because he handed the ball off almost every single play the first drive, and he got a touchdown out of it. So he got a 10-point lead there. Then, whenever I saw us run the ball like 15 of the first 16 plays that he was in, I was like, that's a problem. The reason why that's a problem is because when Cam Ward was in the game, we could have done the exact same thing. We could have ran the ball and got all those yards. But the offensive coordinator was so comfortable with Cam Ward, he knew that like running the ball, we can get 4 or 5 yards. But if I'm throwing the ball with Cam Ward, we might be able to score on every play. We might be able to get a 15, 16-yard gain on every play. Now, when you take Cam Ward out and put Emory Williams into the game, now it's like, if I throw the ball, it might be a turnover. And then if I throw the ball, it's probably going to be an incompletion. So that means we're going to be behind the chains and we're going to have a 2nd and 10 or a 3rd and 10 and have to throw the ball with Emory Williams, which I'm not comfortable with. So it's bad, man. I don't know what y'all think about Emory Williams' performance. Maybe some of y'all will continue to say he hasn't had enough opportunities. He hasn't had enough game reps and all that stuff. I'm telling y'all, that's not the case. He just does not have it. He ain't got it. I'm telling you right now, he does not have it. Okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and get off of Emory Williams here and just switch subjects. I'll talk about the defense. Before I talk about the defense, let me say this real quick. The only reason why I'm as frustrated as I am about a game that matters this much is because I feel like we forfeited this game. I know without a shadow of a doubt, if Cam Ward played that full game, the Hurricanes would have won by probably 17 points. They'd have put more pressure on Iowa State. They'd have forced them to do things that they didn't want to do on offense, made them hurry up a little bit, had them down multiple scores, and the game would have gotten out of hand. But since we put Emory Williams in the game and we're running it, and then we're relying on the almighty 3rd and 6th consistently, like that's what happened. That's why we lost. But anyway, I digress, as they say. Let me talk about the defensive coordinator. I actually wish that we would have won the game, not just because I want to walk around my chest out saying my Hurricanes won, but the main reason why I want to win is because the main reason why I wanted to win this game specifically, especially the way it played out, was because I didn't want people to say, you're just saying it's because you're emotional that we lost. That's not the case. I was hoping and praying that we won this game when we were in the 4th quarter so I could come on here and say, now look, we won the game, so I'm not emotional. These are my actual thoughts. These are not my feelings. These are my thoughts, right? But since we lost, everybody's going to say, oh, you're just upset. You're in your feelings because we lost. But anyways, the defensive coordinator has got to go. We need to see something posted tomorrow morning saying Coach G has been relieved of his duties, or just make it even nice, make it sweet and say parted ways. We disagreed on different things. You know, he wanted to do it this way. I wanted to do it that way. So we decided to part ways. Coach G is a great coach, but we decided to part ways. Make it nice like that so we can go get another job if you got to do it that way. But however you do it, he got to be gone. He has to be gone. What I've always told people, like my dad was a basketball coach, so I know coaching. He was a basketball coach for 20-something years. I know coaching. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm the greatest football coach in the world. I'm not that. But one thing that I can tell you is the fastest way to lose your job as a coach is having your team looking confused and lost. And our Hurricanes looked both of those things in the first half. My wife, we're in the hospital, so I don't have anybody. I'm just sitting here with my wife and my daughter. But I'm like, I told my wife, no matter what happens in the second half, we could get three pick sixes and win the game by 40 points. No matter what happens in the second half, our defensive coordinator has got to be gone. And she was like, why? And I told her this. I said, our Canes are looking confused the entire first half. When you've got your team running around doing this right before the ball snaps, what are we doing? What are they doing? I saw multiple times where there was a wide out all the way out by the hash marks and nobody was guarding them like 2 seconds before the ball was snapped. Where the linebacker and the corner are looking at each other doing this number, like who got him? Who got him? And then somebody runs over there real fast right before the ball is snapped. What are we doing? We had weeks to prepare for this, and we're getting in situations where no one's guarding a receiver. What is happening? There was two receivers on this side. There's one corner on that side. And the corner is waving his hands like, hey, this dude is wide open. What is happening? The fastest way to lose your job as a coach is to have your players looking confused. The second way is to have your players looking like they don't care. That's how you lose your job real quick. The third way is by quote unquote losing the locker room where they just don't care what you say. They're like, man, whatever. So those are the three ways to lose your job. But the fastest way is to have your players looking confused and unprepared. And our Hurricanes looked both of those in a bowl game in which they had multiple weeks to prepare. What is that? Okay. Coach G, God bless you. You got to go. It's over. We've had enough fun. I support you like crazy because I felt like last year, if it wasn't for you, we would have lost, hell, probably 8 games, 8 or 9 games last season because the defense was the only thing that was keeping us in those games when Tyler Van, you know who, was throwing the ball to the other team more than he was throwing to us. So I appreciate you. I've taken up for you a whole lot. I can't take up for you anymore. Coach Mario, you're my guy. I think that you are the answer for the Hurricanes. But this stuff is starting to look bad, G. It's looking real bad. Eventually, this stuff falls on you. Like, you can't have this man out here doing this craziness on defense without it making you look crazy. It's making you look nuts. It's making you look crazy. You got all this talent on your team. We're spending, not we, hell, it's not my money. Y'all spending all this money in the NIL deals, bringing in all this top talent. We have the best player in college football, and we can't get to the playoffs because of the defense. It's looking bad, G. Something's got to give on that. So that's all that I got to say about the defensive coordinator. Because in the first half, our defense looked horrid, putrid, terrible, decrepit. Every word you could think of that's negative, that's how they looked. Iowa State is not like that. They're not that good. So a few times I'm like, yeah, there were players in positions. They were put in the right position. The player just didn't make the play. That happens every now and again. But when your players are out there looking confused, throwing their hands up, leaving people wide open before the snap, that's a problem. That's a coaching problem. First, I'm going to look at the defensive coordinator, but then I'm also looking at the head coach saying, are you going to do something about this? Because he's your responsibility. You hired this guy. Are you going to do something about this? So that's where we are with that. The last thing we talk about is the outgoing players. I don't think Damian Martinez is coming back. I think he played today so he can get his stock up a little bit. At the end of the season, he turned into the number 6 that we hoped to get at the beginning of the season. I think he is an outstanding player. He runs really, really hard. He doesn't go down. He makes you take him down. I love that. Kind of reminds me of the 49ers tight end Kittle. He runs like that. Like, he's not going to go down when you hit him. He makes you take him down. He's not going to stop. So big fan of his. The other running back, I'm not going to put his name out there right now, but I've been saying for probably half of the season that he's going to get us in trouble with a fumble because when he runs, I don't know, y'all heard me say this before. You've heard me say this before. In traffic, he runs with the ball just like this. In traffic. And I keep saying, you got to cover that thing up. Eventually, you're going to fumble in a big time, in a big moment. And he did it today, running in the middle of traffic with the ball out like this. You've got to, I know he's young running back, big, strong, fast guy. I'm not going to say his name, but y'all know what I'm talking about. He's got to stop running like that. One of these coaches has got to tell him, bro, cover the ball up or you're going to fumble. They're going to see this, they're going to see this tape, and their defense is going to be saying, that guy will put the ball on the ground if we just punch at the ball because he carries it in traffic in the middle of the field with one hand. That's got to stop. But anyway, so Damian Martinez showed up and showed out. I think the Hurricanes got their money's worth out of him, just to be honest. I think he did really well this year. Xavier Restrepo goes down as my top 10 favorite player of all time. I was surprised that he did not play in this game. Really shocked, especially with so many players that played. Really shocked by that. But Restrepo finishes his career as my top 10 favorite player of all time with the Hurricanes. Not best player, favorite player. Arroyo, I think he increased his stock a whole lot towards the end of the season. He played really well today, and he played really well a couple of games before this, too. And then, of course, we got to talk about Cam Ward. It's crazy because before the season started, if you go look at my videos, I was one of the first folks to find out that Cam Ward committed to the Hurricanes. And I made a video real quick before I went to take my kids to the movies or something like that. And I was super hyped about it. I'm like, man, this dude actually committed to the Hurricanes. This is going to be a crazy year for us. And most of the time it's kind of like the LeBron James effect. I'm not a LeBron fan, but it's the LeBron James effect where there's this dude that comes in and everybody's expecting him to be this magical player. And it's like, there's no way he can live up to all this hype. There's no way. But what did LeBron do? Like, he ended up being one of the 2 or 3 best players of all time. He lived up to the hype somehow. Cam Ward came in, people like me, other folks who make Hurricanes videos, we're saying, like, he might end up, he's good enough to make us a playoff team, from where we were last year and the year before that. He's good enough to take us to the playoffs. He's good enough to make us to have the best offense in the country. He's good enough to be competitive in the Heisman race. We had all these crazy aspirations and expectations for him, and somehow he lived up to it. Like, it's unbelievable to me. Like, as far as I'm concerned, he had the best, not the best career because he's only here for 1 year, but he had the best year of any Hurricane that I've ever seen, ever. I've never seen one Hurricane, maybe Edgerrin James, that was as dominant as Cam Ward was all season. His dominance on the football field was incredible to me. He made stuff look so easy. So much so that it concerns me about next year's quarterback because I know people are going to be comparing him to Cam Ward, which is just not fair. But for me to put all this crazy hype behind Cam Ward and for everybody else to have the same thought process and for him to actually show up and show out the way that he did every single week, man, it's crazy to me. So my hat goes off to him. I'm sure that he's going to have a crazy successful pro career, crazy successful pro. I bet you he'll be a starting quarterback for 10 years in the NFL, 10 plus years. And then I was making a video pretty shortly about what I'm thinking about some other quarterbacks and stuff like that. But that's my thoughts on this, man. You could be anywhere in the world, but you hear it, man. I truly appreciate it. Take care. God bless. Peace.